Welcome back here with Money, Money, Money. And this week we are discussing retirement. Have you started investing in the NPS? Well, should you not? That's exactly our topic of conversation this week. So, Mr. Lobo, now let's talk about the taxation element. Again, EPF, very clean, very simple.
Very simple.
Exempt. You don't have to bother about tax at all.
At all.
Now let's talk about NPS because it's a slightly more complex structure, right? When you withdraw at the time of retirement, which is 60 years,
yes.
I mean, you're ideally not supposed to touch the corpus before
Yes.
that. Only 40% of the amount, or 40% is what goes into buying equity, right?
Yes.
The balance 60% you can withdraw entirely?
One can withdraw 60% entirely, but only 40% withdrawal is tax exempt.
Okay.
So it is not completely EEE. It is not exempt. The 40% of the accumulated corpus is exempt there. If one chooses to withdraw 60%, then the differential of 20%, he need to pay tax.
You have to pay tax on that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how should one make sure that the NPS investment is utilized the best once you reach that age of retirement?
The individual has got an option of 100% annuitizing it, but unfortunately the annuity rates are quite low.
Okay.
Today it may not meet the aspirations.
How low? I mean, if you're looking at today's rates.
It is about revolving around 5.6% at age 60.
So when you are actually buying
Yes.
an annuity, when you're putting in that corpus to buy
Yes.
that assured
Yes.
sort of return, 5 to 6%, and that's not even going to meet
That-
regular
that's
fixed
not going
income
to-
sort of
yes.
returns.
So that's where one can opt for the balance in case he doesn't want to withdraw the corpus. He can also have a systematic withdrawal plan from age 60 to 70.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where he can...
That's for the balance 60%, because 40% you don't have a
40%
choice, compulsory.
You will have to compulsorily annuitize that.
You have to buy
You will have to
annuity.
compulsorily annuitize. That is the one. Unfortunately, annuity market is not, because annuity once purchased is locked in debt funds. And the yields are there. The insurance companies or the annuity providers, it's locked for them. And it's at around 6% today. Different annuity providers have different annuity rates.
But these rates sound even lower and far lower than
Yes,
existing debt security rates or debt fund rates.
I think this is a global phenomena, just because the annuity rates are also linked to the longevity of the individual.
Correct.
So once purchased, it is locked for throughout the work life. And you will see today the longevity has increased, and one survives beyond retirement probably as much as his work life.
How do you know that you're buying the right sort of annuity? Is there some pointer that you would like to tell our viewers?
See, the life annuity pays the highest annuity. The option with life annuity with return of capital will be the lower, because the capital will be paid back to the beneficiaries after the demise of the annuitant. There are also other options like guaranteed for 5, 10, 15 or 20 years and life thereafter. And there is joint life last survivor with or without return of capital, but the annuity quantum could be lower.
Now I'm going to ask you the simple question.
Yes.
What does all of this boil down to? If you're talking about a working individual, let's talk about someone in their mid-30s or, starting 40s, because that's the point you really start thinking that, okay, I need to build up a sizable corpus. In addition to the mutual funds and the SIPs, when the option has to be taken with your employer, NPS or EPF?
EPF, no doubt, being compulsory, because all organizations who have got 20 employees and more, it is employers will have to opt for provident fund. There is a cap of 15,000 here. There is a talks of increasing the salary limit to 25,000, but 90% of the organizations do not cap it. They contribute more. That's a good news that higher wealth is being accumulated and preserved. As far as NPS is concerned, today we have 3,900 corporates who have adopted the corporate model of NPS. That is abysmally low when you see the companies listed by shares. And also,
why do you think companies are still hesitating in offering NPS as an option?
My interactions with corporates and employers is that the young workforce do not see the perceived benefits in the NPS. And salary sacrifice is one which is a big deterrent.
Well, it's going anyway, whether it goes into
Yes.
EPF or NPS, the power of choice, I guess, should be given.
I think the present generation is spend, and if something remains, you save. It should be other way around. You should save first and spend, and you should start earlier. I would say just 30 to 35% of one's income should go into the savings to create a decent corpus by his 40, 45 in case his job is becoming redundant or he has to retire early. And so there is a decent corpus for him to either buy immediate annuities or invest in systematic withdrawal plans. Because annuity being low, he could invest in systematic investment plans or maybe mutual fund and arbitrage funds, because anything within above 1 year investment does not attract tax.
So if you're someone who doesn't have a very high risk appetite, who's primarily okay with sort of, largely debt exposure, or maybe very minuscule equity exposure, then should such an individual stick to EPF or should he move to NPS? Because then NPS is a tax element.
I still advocate that EPF you should still continue to and subscribe to NPS under auto choice, the default option being the moderate life cycle fund, where there is a 50% equity exposure, and as age progresses, it keeps on reducing.
Sure.
So that would be, you don't have to do anything if you are not well versed with this fund. And if you're still conservative, you got a life stage fund where there is only 25% equity exposure. Or you could still experiment and see, let me expose it to 75% equity exposure and life stage for a year, and you have choice to change the fund how well your performance fund has grown.
That's right.
Yeah, you can always review your portfolio within a year at the end of the year.
Okay, I guess the bottom line is that we have to start somewhere. Saving is really important, whether we go the EPF way or whether one chooses the NPS. There's plenty of flexibility, particularly with the NPS. You can decide the kind of portfolio you want. The question is, are you willing to commit the money when the time is right? Well, we have time to take some viewer questions. In fact, I think we have one caller with us on the line right now. Nishant Raj Singh, who is, I think, a resident of Indore. Nishant, hello and welcome to Money, Money, Money.
My question is, government employee and 10% of my salary is deducted and deposited in NPS. Now, this 10% deduction qualifies for additional rupees 50,000 tax relief provided under 80CCD 1B if I exhaust my 1.5 lakh investment limit in 80C by using PPF, ELSS, LIC, or I have to voluntarily deposit rupees 50,000 to claim this benefit.
Okay, Mr. Lobo, I think the query seems to be that if you have already made other investments, the whole ATC bunched up list of home loan, your life insurance policy and other such things, then what happens? If all of that has taken up your ATC, then do you automatically qualify for the additional 50,000 deduction?
Yes, that 50,000 deduction he should qualify because he's making in excess of that. And it should come under that exclusive bucket for NPS, which is available for 50,000.
And this must obviously be part of the employee
contribution, not the employer contribution.
You can't sort of look at what the employer is contributing.
The employer contribution comes under that 10% with no cap, upper cap.
Okay, all right, Nishant. Hopefully that answers your question, and that also brings us to the end of this edition of Money, Money, Money. Thank you, Mr. Lobo, for joining in and giving us some insights on the right way to plan and save for your retirement. Well, that's all the time that we have on the show this week. Your feedback, questions, queries, welcome as always. We'll see you again next week.